Welcome to Death on Life. I'm your host. Later in the show, you'll get the chance to meet a few of my colleagues, a monster and a demon. But first, you must do the thing you think you cannot do. You must do the thing that you think you cannot do. When Eleanor Roosevelt introduced this concept to the world in her 1960 book, You Learn by Living, 11 Keys for a More Fulfilling Life, she wasn't talking about the cinnamon challenge or continuing to love a partner that had somehow turned into a worm. Her advice was aimed at the hearts and minds of any and all holders of self-imposed limitations. A directive to acknowledge the learned underestimation of one's own capabilities by taking a hard look at the face of their fears. You must do the thing that you think you cannot do. How did this advice actually serve Eleanor Roosevelt, you may ask? What purpose could such daunting advice serve in my life, you may ask after that? Well, I'm glad you may ask. Having lived through the commitment of her father to a mental asylum and eventually losing him to alcoholism 2 years after losing her mother to diphtheria, Eleanor's first 8 years presented the optimal substrate for a life of depression, repression, and self-sabotaging behavior to unfurl on a noxious vine of generational trauma. But instead, she found a way to transform those hardships into opportunities for growth, resisting the notion that self-held personal limitations were somehow more restrictive than the circumstance of reality. Eleanor went on to teach dance and calisthenics to immigrants in New York and investigated working conditions in the garment districts as part of the Consumers League. During World War I, side note, I shook over 17 million hands during that war and 0 bruising. Okay, just saying. Eleanor advocated for soldiers wounded on the front line, both mentally and physically, successfully lobbying for better care protocols at veterans' hospitals. She joined the League of Women Voters and effectively championed the passing of the 19th Amendment, which granted American women the right to vote. She went on to join the NAACP Board of Directors, drafted the Declaration of Human Rights, which was subsequently passed by the United Nations, and at 77, Eleanor was appointed head chair of the Commission of the Status of Women by President John F. Kennedy. She maintained her omnipresence as a colossus of the civil rights movement until the day we finally met. I believe she was First Lady at some point as well, but do your own research. Even a cursory glance at Eleanor Roosevelt's legacy shows a life of mastery through championing civil and social justice. And the proof of personal progress? Well, that's in the proverbial pudding. Now, if we were to assume for the sake of argument that Eleanor's vast list of personal and professional achievements all began as things she thought she could not do, well, that's a whole lot of stuff that she thought she could not do. Perhaps doing the thing you think you cannot do means finding common ground with someone who has a different life perspective, set of social values, or experiences than you, or transcending the comforts of a victim mentality, disregarding the notion that you're beholden to your circumstance by fate, dissolving your priors and forging past your perceived limitations. Or maybe, and this one's a doozy, doing the thing you think you cannot do means accepting and embracing your truest self, free of recrimination and without fear of external judgment. And maybe this all sounds like a bunch of woke nonsense to you, and that you're frankly shocked to hear it because you were assured by your handlers that woke was dead. You're entitled to those big feelings, of course, and by all means, hold them tightly if you think they keep you safe. But because I own you and will someday lay claim to what is rightfully mine and this and that, I ask you to at least consider this. One of the more admirable trends in mankind I've been privy to over the ages is when those who have their inner states in order are virtually impervious to being overcome by any force outside of themselves. I admit it's not always so obvious when surveying the tragedy of the commons, but believe me, each and every one of you fleshies have some amazing talent within you, as well as the capacity to bring that talent into the light of day, no matter which season of your life you're currently in. Whether you muster the courage to defy your unchosen domestication by acknowledging and nurturing your unique talent, and then following that talent along the potentially scary and mysterious path it aims to lead you, is a choice. The biggest risk you can take in this brief life on Earth cameo is taking no risk at all. In one way or another, that's the risk which will cost you a life. So the next time you're called upon to maintain some tired status quo out of fear of the past, the other, or the unknown, or for a prescribed sense of security or comfort, or simply to keep up with the Johnsons, bear in mind how little existential nutriment is coming from that steady diet of low-hanging fruit. I know we were supposed to talk to a couple of my colleagues today, but my soliloquy got a little girthy, and I just don't think we're going to be able to
You must do the thing that you think you cannot do.
All right.
You like that?
Nice little call
You like
back
that?
there.
That was paying attention.
That was good.
Okay.
Folks, my first guest is a senior council member on the Imagination Delegation of Internal Demonocracy, or I did.
That's right.
And it's my pleasure to introduce to you Demön Dalrymple Fairbanks, which is a hyphenated last name.
Hey, D, thanks for having me. Yes, hyphenated.
Good. That's great. And my second guest is the sole heir to the Chumwiff Baloney Empire. Please welcome Monsty Chumwiff. How we doing over there,
Good
Monsty?
to be here. Thanks for having me, D.
Very good. It should be noted that Chumwiff Baloney is a major corporate sponsor of this program.
Yeah, but I'm not like calling the shots or, trying to like manipulate the content or anything. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, okay.
But we should have a little powwow before this goes live. Some of the stuff about looking inside.
Before it goes live.
And, is there something funny about that? I mean, like, what am I missing?
Well, it's already live.
What do you mean?
It's posted.
You can tell from the smell, it's Chumwiff's.
Why did you think that was the time to plug your baloney?
All right, well, you two aren't really giving me a whole lot to work with over here, all right? And plus, it's never a bad time to plug my baloney, okay?
Please don't ever say that again.
How about, first of all, I'm allowed to say whatever I want, to whoever I want, whenever I want, however I want, whenever I want,
But does that mean you should, or that you have to?
Does that mean I should listen to you, or that I have to?
Okay.
No.
Well, let me just remind you that you wouldn't even exist if people didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
Okay?
You were such a little snowflake. You get offended by the
Name-calling.
smallest
Yeah,
thing.
okay, well, it just
I
comes
say
down
the
to name-calling.
smallest thing, and you get so offended.
That's because
What's up with that?
you resort to name calling, and you don't even you can't even
Resort.
make a case for yourself. You
I
can't even
resort
defend
to
your
name
points.
calling.
You just
Look,
have
I'm
to
at a resort.
immediately.
I got a pina colada in my paws.
Attack.
No.
So get some new
No, I'm not
material,
gonna sit
buddy.
here and let you attack name calling, because name calling is the stuff that empires are built from. And I don't know why I'm wasting my breath trying to explain
I don't know. Yeah, neither do I.
explain that to you, because you're not the CFO of a massively
That's right.
successful
That's
baloney
right.
empire.
I'm not.
No, you're not.
That's
and
right.
You never
Neither
will
are
be.
you. Neither
never
are
will-
you.
No, okay, sure.
You're not a CFO.
Yeah.
You're sole
Well, you know
heir
what?
of an insane amount of baloney bucks. You have no official position within the company. Your daddy handed you his baloney.
Oh, now we're talking about what my daddy did with his baloney.
Well, I think it's important. I think that
Yeah,
people
you
have a
think,
right
all
to know.
You're always thinking, aren't you?
Oh,
Always
here we
thinking, there,
go.
Demön.
Here
Yeah,
we go.
good for you.
Great.
It's glad somebody's
See what this
doing
always
it.
comes back to?
Somebody's got to do
This is where we always end
thinking.
up.
Always you think
It
this,
always
think
circles
that.
back
What is
to you
what- I
attacking
don't
me
even-
for,
what-
like, you don't even-
You talking about my daddy handle? That's
Oh,
slander is what
please.
that is. I'm not going to stand
Slander.
for that.
It's not
No, I'm
slander,
not
it's a
gonna stand.
fact.
No, that's horseshit. It's
Okay.
hogwash. It's hogwash and it's
Hogwash
horseshit.
Hogwash and
it's
it's horseshit. You know, you don't
No,
even.
no,
You just,
no,
you're just throwing
no.
words.
We'll check back in with those two a little later. If you're still tuning in, that means we've yet to meet. So stay hydrated, get some fresh air in those lungs, and keep up the great work. See you next time.